All right, everyone. Welcome to the Sunny Days in Detroit show. Vikings preview, Christmas Eve matchup, 1 o'clock. Is this a Fox game? I believe this is Fox, right? Somebody want to? I'll check right now.
Sunday, yeah. And
What do you guys?
Well, now I forgot they don't do the conferences anymore with.
Yeah, now it's all different. But okay, it's a 1 o'clock game. It's either Fox or CBS. I think it's Fox.
Fox.
Pavo. It's been I guess a point of conversation this week with season ticket sales and the price going up. You're a season ticket holder. Why don't you enlighten some of the audience? Tell because there's a lot. You're hearing a bunch of different things. You're hearing 86%. You're hearing 70%. What's going on with season ticket sales?
Listen, it's a tough topic, and like I don't want to. I'm afraid sometimes when I give my opinion, like people are gonna look at me like I'm a jerk or But I also don't think. I don't think that the whole like when you read these articles, they just says it's a jump and this person has to pay this much more this year. If it's $1,000, now they have to pay $1,300. But the one thing that no one's talking about, it's a 9-game home schedule next year. And I don't care about the preseason. So you have an extra home game next year. So I did the math on my tickets. Like my tickets, even if I did it, if the Lions stayed at the same price and you had an extra home game next year from 8 to 9 regular season games, my ticket would have jumped up about 12, 13%. Now my tickets went up 27% total. So like it's about a 15% increase. And a lot of people I've heard say comments like, you know what, they should have jumped up 10 to 15%. On top of that, like, yeah, there are some sections. Like I know row 1 tickets, which I have a friend of mine who is willing to sell me his row 1 tickets now. So I'll have row 1 tickets. As long as he doesn't change his mind. And I'm excited because I'll still sit by him, and me and him had season tickets next to one another back in the day in Ford Field. And I love sitting next to him. They went up like 87%, row 1. Just row 1. Row 2, you go back on row. They didn't take nowhere near a jump like that. So there's an experience with sitting row 1. And if, at the end of the day, if you don't want to sit row 1 or you can't afford it, then move back a row or 2. And club level, guess what? I think club level should pay a lot of money. Now, the Lions should offer a lot in club level. They should offer a lot to those people who come in. You want to bring in business people. Like it shouldn't be for the regular fan who wants to get rowdy. But I think there should be an experience with that you could bring it's not like a work function, come to it. And listen, we're the bottom third in tickets. Now, this is why I also don't have a problem with it. I really do believe in Sheila and Ron Wood when they want to invest in this team. And invest means not like you have to spend a certain amount of money, and that's all based off of revenue sharing. Like this with the tickets, like they want to build a new practice facility they talked about last year. Like a state of the art. They said they want to be able to hold 15,000 fans. By doing this, getting more money, they could build a stadium where people can bring their kids to for free and be able to hold other events there that involve the Lions that because Allen Park is not big. It's not a big facility at all. There's no park, and they have to use parking from like other business around during training camp to get people there. And I don't blame them for wanting to build a facility. And it's not cheap. If you want to build a state-of-the-art practice facility that you can attract, maybe that's the final push of a player being like, check out their facility, check out what their cafeteria looks like, their recovery rooms, their ice rooms, their showers. That's a selling point to players, especially ones that like care about their body and saying,
I think there's something to be said about you don't want to price out the diehard fan, right? But there also comes a point. So like, you don't want to price those people out. You want to make it affordable to where you're which I also think like we're kind of past the days, like I hate to say it, I hate to break the news to everyone, but we're past the days of it being affordable to take your kid to a game. And that's in any pro sport, right? Like that's no matter what sport you're watching, the whole day, between paying for parking, baseball, right? Like the whole day is an expensive day. So it's not like it was when you were a kid. I hate to break it to you. That's just life. So and so kind of like what you're saying here, Paul, like they're raising tickets that everybody wants. And yeah, if you can't afford row 1 on the 50-yard line anymore, yeah, that's going to be expensive because everybody wants those tickets. There's nothing wrong, in my opinion, at a football game sitting. There's nothing wrong sitting in the nosebleeds. It's still relatively affordable at Ford Field, and like, yeah, you still get your experience. Is it the same experience? No, it's not. But that's life. That's capitalism. That's when your team is playing good, when they're playing good football, they're more in demand. People want to go. Right?
So you know me, I spend a lot of money on the lines, a lot. Traveling, living in Philly, traveling. I sit row 1 most games. I mean, I spend $2,000 just for the Kansas City game. Now people are like, "Oh, you can afford all this." No, like I choose where I spend my money.
Yeah.
Like, and I choose to spend it on football. I don't golf. I have a certain amount of money that I allow myself to spend it, and I think most people have them. But if not, cut it out somewhere else. But you're right. Like football is not meant to take. Especially football, it's not meant to take your family of 5 to a game.
Yeah.
You know what it is? That's preseason.
Yeah.
Now, maybe you have 2 tickets and you take your wife to a couple games. You take your son to a couple games when he gets old enough. But, like, literally, we've all been to NFL games. How many times do you see a family of 5 sitting in a row?
Yeah. It's
you know when you see in Detroit every once in a while? On Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I love it. But it's not that kind of event. And I get – we should be happy that we don't have PSL licensing. And then when William Clay Ford built Ford Field, he said it's in that by building the stadium, he'll never put seat licensing fees on there. And there's a lot of NFL teams because guess what? They could have 10 years ago said, "Hey, every seat is a $10,000 license, and now you got to cut me a check for $40,000 if you want."
Yeah, that's what they did at MetLife here.
Yeah, that's what Eagles do. It
killed people.
Yes, people have to give up their tickets so you don't have it. And guess what? Someone's gonna buy it, or a corporation's gonna buy it.
Right.
So I don't. And if you told me right now we're the highest paid, first of all, like let's end it here. Like, and I know Pat has an opinion on this, and this is something that I don't think there's a wrong opinion. Like everyone's point is valid. Is you don't want the same SOL, but you want to pay the same price?
Yeah.
Like, and Ron Wood said, like, I know just in our scouting department, we want to hire more people. We want to get more scouts out there, state scouts, everyone out there. Like, that costs money. And I don't think the Lions are going to be pocketing this money. I think they're going to look to improve it. Maybe that brings up the cost of the value of the franchise more. But I don't think they're going to be – I don't think Sheila Hamp's always going to be sitting there like, I got $40 million more in my pocket. Like, she wants to win.
Billionaires don't become billionaires by doing stuff for free. I'll put that there. On the other side, to me, it's like I don't think kids don't deserve the opportunity to have that experience. And if kids can't afford that, and a lot of times when these happens in cities and these price rises happen, I don't care what city you're in, it's the local kids, the local people that don't get to go to the games. Where, especially in a place like Detroit that's been so poverty stricken, this is pretty much just phasing them out and putting all the seats in the suburbs. And that's the kind of thing like I don't always agree with. I get it's a business and it costs a lot of money to run. So like, I'm not going to sit here and cry wolf about it. Like, I don't care. Like, it's at the end of the day, it is what it is, but it is I just look at the unfortunate side of this of like, there is people that won't get these experiences that we all know. If you remember your first game as a kid was electric. And it was much more affordable when I was a kid. Like it wasn't a business like it is today. Yeah. It's changed in that aspect. So like, it hasn't always been this way. And a lot of their money comes from the advertising and the TV deals anyway. Like, and that's what people don't realize either. Like, so the seats isn't
you got to make some money.
But also, Pat, just that they're sold out. Like, no one has season tickets. Is like this family that's in complete poverty. And guess what? And if they don't want to go this year, they've been selling them at record numbers on StubHub, increased prices, and that's pricing out. By when you raise
tickets, that's what I'm saying. The higher the average goes for the ticket price, the higher it is just by a single game, which prices those people out completely. It gets even harder for those people.
Yeah, but you know what? Though,
I think this is gonna take the scalper out of it. I think there's a limit of how much it can get, and this is like for instance, when I had Sixer season tickets, when this was I got the first year they drafted. Simmons,
I remember. Yeah, I remember you talking about
that year, and they had this whole price. That year, my tickets, I was like 7th row, center court, and I think like every game I was making like $50, $80, $100 off my ticket. Then all of a sudden they raised the prices next year because they're watching what these third markets are going. They raised the prices, so my ticket was more. Do you think I'm going to make more money? No. All of a sudden, I was making, instead of like $80 off a game, I was making like $50. Then they raised it again. Finally, after the third year, I left it because I was losing money because at the end of the day, People are still just going to pay a certain price. I bet you this year row one was selling for $500, $600 on average. I bet you next year, even though the ticket now is face valued at $300, it's still just going to sell for $500. It's not going to. People are not going to be paying more on the third market team. And
it all depends because I think the other side of it, and like again, I don't think this dude. I'm going to go to games. I don't. This is kind of like looking at two sides of the coin here, and I think the one other piece of this is it's the visitors. Now Detroit's becoming a destination where people are going to want to go see them play away if their team's there. And let's be honest, anyone that frequents Detroit regularly, Detroit 10 years ago and Detroit today are two different places.
Yeah.
It is thriving. It is an awesome place. They've redone that city in a way you would think it's unimaginable if you've ever seen a place that was like that down at like in the early 2000s and where they're at today, getting huge investments from Ernst & Young, Google, all these tech hubs. They're becoming a startups like hub in America. Huge article was just written about it. It's like it's a vibe, it's a place, and it's bringing a lot of people all over the country to live. And now people are going to want to start coming there to see games and like see Detroit because they're now we're a powerhouse now. Like, let's be honest, like this is where they're heading.
It also helps that they're across the street from Comerica Park. So you come in September, early October, you have the opportunity to do. I mean, obviously the Red Wings and the Pistons exist, but that's a little ways away. The Little Caesars Arena.
I'm not sure about say the Pistons. I don't know about say the Pistons exist right now.
No, but
like
if you're like a Knicks fan,
24-game losing streak.
I feel pal. I feel bad for you because you had to like being local to Philly. You had to watch the whole Philadelphia go through this era, and now you're having to watch your home team go through it. It's just like a double.
But you know what? But like they're doing this now with like Cade Cunningham, a #1 pick who's like playing good. Like they put literally 3 good quarters of basketball together and then get destroyed in one quarter every game. There's young talent in this team. Like I mean, let's not talk about Pistons, but it's a disaster over there. They've lost 24 in a row. If they lose today against Utah, they're one shy of the Sixers record of 26. So they're not really existing anymore.
But I think we can probably put the kibosh in that the whole idea here is like this is to be expected when we become a good team. And
if there's a worse franchise than the Carolina Panthers, is the Detroit Pistons.
The Carolina Panthers tickets. I mean, just to put a bow on this,
are free.
45 cents, I think, last Sunday. That's insane.
Like the service fee was more than the ticket.
That's so.
They're
insane.
going for four. I saw $4 last game.
I saw 45 cents. I think
it was like
awesome.
Saturday night.
I think if no one could get rid of them, and they were just like people just putting them up for like obnoxious prices just to make a joke of it.
Just to make a joke of it. Yeah, it's pathetic.
That's what happens when Bryce Young brings you excitement.
I'd say it's that owner needs to. He's like he's got like Washington Commanders owner vibes. That guy.
No, I think I have faith in the Commanders owner. I do.
No, the
new one.
The new one. Oh, you're talking about Schneider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just has his hands in too much shit, and he just got to step away from it. Let the football guys do football stuff. These guys just like they buy a team like, oh, I want to do this. I'm a football guy. No, you're not. Like stand back.
He's fine. Yeah. I mean, they've had 6 head coaches in the last 3 years. Say 2.
Panthers?
If you count the interim coaches, yeah.
Or last 3, 4, yeah. They 2 last year, 2 this year, and then I think
Hey, that's a different form of cardiac cats. Why don't we talk about the Honolulu Blue ones that play in Detroit? They're playing in Minnesota on Sunday, which is awesome. It's Christmas Eve. It's been a while since we had Christmas Eve games, right? Did we have
since last year?
We had them last year?
Yeah.
We didn't have a full slate though. We didn't have a full Sunday slate.
Yeah, we all played on last year on
it was a Saturday.
On Saturday? Everyone
Christmas Eve last year. Lions played Panthers. It was Christmas Eve. No,
but he's saying there wasn't like a full day.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Yes, they put all the games on Saturday, and there's only 3 on Christmas Day. That's a new tradition. 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And last year was like Miami versus the Packers. I think was 1, and then
yes, I do remember betting on that.
Yeah, I bet on 2, and I got fucked. I had
I bet on
player prop. I had a player prop that I needed.
That's why I'm fired up about the Eagles game because I'm like, if I get a little Christmas gift of an Eagles loss on Christmas, let's go.
Every team played last year on Saturday, Christmas Eve, and there was the new tradition. They said they're going to keep this tradition going. So this means what's going to happen?
I don't think it means that they're going to play full slate on a Monday and then
we won't see this again with like leap year next year. They'll skip the day, so we won't see this again for like 5 years. They
just mentioned last year and they're looking to keep this always on Christmas Day. There's 3 games.
How would you?
So I don't know. Maybe.
No, that could make sense. That could make sense.
New Year's, not New Year's Day. No, I mean Christmas Day.
Yeah, but like, how are you gonna do?
What
like,
are you doing?
Tuesday,
Christmas is on a
day?
Wednesday.
Yeah, like that does.
What?
You have to guys
About-
play Wednesday and Sunday? No way.
Yeah, like what about when Christmas is on like a Tuesday
I'm
or
not
what?
sure.
Whatever.
There's no buys at this point in the season.
That's Roger Goodell's problem. Let's
They
get
might
into
play.
the,
They might play two teams on a Thursday the week before, then have them play on Wednesday. I don't know.
let's get into the Lions here.
They could do that. Yeah.
We're going
I
to
see.
Minnesota.
Yeah, that fight. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
They're going to Minnesota. We're 3-point favorites. Nick Mullins is starting that game. Don't really know why. It's quiet. I thought I would get a reaction.
I mean, like, I don't know either because like
I don't know because we clearly can't cover mobile quarterbacks. So if I were Kevin O'Connell, I'd be throwing Josh Dobbs in there.
well, I look at you. You probably got to lean into your strength right now, and with Jay Jetta back, your receivers are your strength. You want a guy that can
makes
actually
sense.
that can actually complete the passes, isn't going to get lost and not see the field. Nick Mullins has been there longer, knows the system better. So like, just on like face value, they're just going with the more sure hand in the passing game. I guess, but to your point, maybe do they mix it up at all? Do they try to throw different looks at two quarterbacks? I don't know. I mean, I don't know much about Mullins' history.
I mean, Mullins' last game was the third quarterback, so he could only come in if there's an injury. I mean, both quarterbacks were injured, so I don't know.
You're talking about Dobbs.
I think
you're talking about Dobbs. You said
Dobbs, yeah. But Walker, is it Walker? No, they're Walker. They're
PJ Walker is in Cleveland.
No, the backup is mobile.
Okay.
So
With
All right,
the Vikings,
say again.
are you talking about Josh Dobbs?
No, the backup.
Josh Dobbs, I think
Mullins.
third string.
They released Kellen Mond, if that's what you're thinking of. He's no longer.
No.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, let me look it up.
I could not. say
So
the third
while
quarterback.
Pavo's looking that up, if the Lions win on Sunday, nothing else matters in the NFC North. They would claim the NFC North for the first time in franchise history. As we said in the last episode, if you tuned in, they've won the NFC Central in the past, 1993. But as anybody with a pulse knows, there is no more NFC Central. It is the NFC North and the NFC South. So this is going to be probably the most important day of this franchise since firing Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn, I guess, right?
This is the culmination, right?
Maybe
is
further back.
you fired them because they were just completely inept. Like, just let's be honest.
Disaster.
But on top of that, this is what you were always looking to establish: is being a realistic division leader, and we're there. And it's a good feeling, and it's going to be awesome when it happens. So this is like probably the biggest game, from a crossing off that box, right? Like, we got to check that box that's been haunting us for 30, 40 years almost, or 30, 33 years, whatever it is, 91, I think it was. Is that right?
Oh, a playoff win. Yeah.
No,
Yes.
even division, I think 90.
Division's 93. Playoff win was 91.
Okay, so we're going on 30 years.
Yeah.
Like,
It's gonna be
breaking
30
that,
years.
again, and the linesmen doing it time and time again. They're kind of breaking a lot of the curses, a lot of the cruxes that people always point to. Haven't done this in so long, haven't done that in so long, haven't done this in so long. So you get that, and then you get the playoff win, and then pretty much every monkey's off your back. And then now you're just like, hey, it's Super Bowl or bust. We got all that fucking negative energy off us that people always remind us of. And it's good. It feels good, right? Like, we are so used to the SOL idea, and now it's finally kind of coming to fruition to be done with.
One more thing, too, that could be a milestone event. Probably not this Sunday, but by the end of the season, the Lions could be the first team in NFL history to have two 1,000-yard running backs, or two 1,000-yard rushers, I should say, and two 1,000-yard receivers. Those four guys, one of them, Amon-Ra St. Brown, cleared 1,000 yards like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
The guy that's the next up is Sam Laporta. He's at 8-something. Or 7.
Is it 8? I think he's 780 something.
Yeah, very,
under 8.
very high. And Montgomery and Gibbs are obviously the two rushers. Montgomery's pretty close. Montgomery needs like 150 yards to get there. And Gibbs needs I think a little over 200. I think they're more likely to get that rushing record. I don't know that they're going to get Laporta to go over. And honestly, I don't want to see them try to get these guys the ball. Like, the goal for the next 3 weeks is just win. And it's cliche, obviously it's win as much as possible, but truly win as much as possible, because what are the two records we're really looking at? A, winning the division, as we just said, for the first time since 93, but get the monkey off the back of winning a playoff game, because we haven't done that, right? In my lifetime, I was born in 1996. I've never seen it. Well, I've never been alive for it. Like, that, to me, if you're a Lions fan, those are the records you should be concerned with. Like 2012, was it really cool to see Calvin Johnson break the record? Absolutely. It was awesome. I remember exactly where I was. I was at a house party, and I hid the TV remote because I knew the girls were going to try to put something else on.
What team was it? What team was it against?
They were playing the Atlanta Falcons, and it was on like a.
It was a Saturday night game.
Drag route. Yeah, it was Monday. It was on ESPN. It was Monday Night Football, but it was Saturday.
But it's on Saturday, yeah.
I don't remember. I was in high school, and so I knew I didn't have to go to work the next day.
Yeah,
and we were fucking loaded. I know that, but yeah.
So, as someone that, like, I'm a little older than, well, a little older than you.
Just a couple years on me, not too much.
But it's when you think about it, and you're as passionate as a fan, and like as many passionate fans as Lions have, to think 30 years and how long 30 years is, and how much happened in 30 years, and then not win the division for that long, and we're not talking winning the Super Bowl in 30 years. It's a 4-team division. It was 5 teams for a few of those years, but it's 4 teams. It's like, this is like incredible that they haven't been able to win it, even with the Brett Favres and the Aaron Rodgers. And there's some games they had opportunities and they blew them. But everything went against them. Even the 1 year, Stafford was playing, I think, at an MVP level, and then he broke his fingers on the Bears guy helmet, and then we go to New York the next game. He can't complete a pass, and I believe then we lost in New
Seattle
Orleans. Yeah, last game we lost at
2016.
We lost to Green Bay at home, and like the momentum was gone. We lost, I think, 4 straight in a row or 3 straight in a row, and it's someone like every year I would start and think, this might be it. This could be the year that they're building something special here. Jim Schwartz, like, we've seen the turnaround from 0-16 to going to New Orleans. After that year we lost to New Orleans with Stafford as a quarterback, I thought this was going to be us. Like, that's a year I moved to Philly 12 years ago, and I remember driving through Pittsburgh because we played on a Saturday night, and I moved to Philly that morning on Sunday, and I was driving to Pittsburgh, and they're talking about the top young quarterbacks in the NFL, and they're like, Detroit's going to win Super Bowls even though they lost. I mean, so much has happened here, and I'm here thinking, like, I'm working all day today. In my head, I'm like, it might fucking happen Saturday. Like, this could be it. And this isn't just this is huge. This is huge. Like,
monumental.
I might fucking cry. I literally might cry.
As you alluded to, I was 7 the last time. So like, that was right when I started. Like, I was like probably 5, 6 when I started becoming a Lions fan. So like, I don't remember it. Like, I know I love Barry Sanders. I remember like that era, but I don't remember the championship and how big it was. And then fast forward 30 years, now I feel like I'm living through it for the first time. Because you're probably, like you said, you might still remember. You're probably like 10 or so, right?
I'm gonna. What if they win a division? They have a home playoff game, and whoever it is, I think I'm gonna tear up during that national anthem inside Ford Field. I know I will. Like I'm sick in the head. Like, I have the national anthem played on my Lions game day music, and I listen to it sometimes like running, and I'll be like thinking about the Super Bowl. If I'm ever at the Super Bowl, what's gonna happen? Like, I'm gonna be so emotional, and I listen to the Whitney Houston Super Bowl version when she sang it in whatever it was, 91, or I think it was Giants Buffalo game. But it
must be how women imagine their wedding day. This is like us, the way we're talking about a Super Bowl.
Listen,
right? Spot
right on. And I don't even know how to explain it to people. I don't know how to explain it to people here in Philly. Like, I've been working cutting someone's hair, and I talk about, they might win the division. They're like, oh, yeah, that's good for you guys. Like, it's embarrassing that it's been this bad.
Yeah.
But like, to finally be here and have an opportunity this year, and I said this a couple weeks ago on Christmas Eve, to go into Minnesota and fucking take it. Don't fucking have it handed to you. Put them away. I don't want to see some kind of win. I just want to see them play with the passion, with, knowing what's on the line. Don't let no one fucking take it from you. No excuses. No excuses in this game. Like,
can I say two things on
yeah.
that? So I think one, you're spot on. I think one of the things of what's hurt so much about this is I think when the team got passed off from Mr. Ford to Mrs. Ford, we were like, okay, maybe some different things will happen. And it was kind of more of the same, right? She just kind of leaned on the NFL to make decisions for them. Like, who's the next guy up? Who's the guy we're supposed to hire? This and that. Then Sheila came in, and we've talked about this, Like, I think this is the most underrated storyline of the entire turnaround is Sheila Fordham and her different approach. I think she went out and has a different life experience than her parents had, everyone else in her family. And she really took the time to evaluate people they thought were the right people.
Yeah.
They got made fun of. We all remember the press conference and everything that came with that, all the heat, all the pundits just hammering and piling on Dan Campbell because he's a little different. They didn't care about the different personality because all these teams want this polished guy that gets in front of a podium and sounds good. The Lions, their evaluation, I assume they had some good football minds in the room outside of Sheila and what's the business guy's name?
It was Barry Sanders, Rod Wood, but Barry Sanders,
Spielman,
Chris Spielman, and I think Herman Moore were all part of the interviews.
They wowed the football. They're like, hey, this guy's a little wily, but he fucking nailed that football portion of that interview to the T that like we haven't seen in a while. That's your guy. And they hired the two separately, which also commonly doesn't happen. So they were like, hey, these are the best two candidates. And personality-wise, they're going to hit it off. And that, to me, is someone that knows how to identify talent just flat out. Not just football talent, just like mental acuity and being able to identify and know it was going to work. And that's like one piece I want to say. The other is, pal, you're fucking right. Going away and fucking locking this up against a division rival, it just has another element of sweetness to it. And I just really hope it happens.
It's all of it comes together. Like it just being laughed at as an organization, and we deserved it, but us fans, like, we're just taking a beating of it.
We didn't deserve it.
We didn't deserve it, but like, we're going to, I went to so many away games just defending them and saying 1 year is going to be our year. And like, now we're finally getting there. And like, to actually be able to clinch the division. Also, like, not the last game of the year, like we're able to do it 3 weeks before.
Yeah.
Like, that's special. Go in there, take care of fucking business. And you know what? I said it. I said this 2 weeks ago, that I thought we were going to beat Denver, and I thought we are going to beat Minnesota. And I said, maybe you go to Dallas and you put up a fight. Now, like, fuck it. Go to Dallas and then whoop their ass in Dallas. Whoop it.
Dallas has shown some warts.
But that's fine. Run the ball on the – I mean, we'll talk about it next week. But, like, and to go and talk about this, not that we're talking about previous, I'm not saying, like score-wise – but I think the Lions are going to dominate this game. I'm meaning, like, I don't think it's going to be 42-17. But I think this might be a game where Lions go win 27 to 10, 27-17. But they're in control of this game from the beginning to the end. They played smart. They didn't turn the ball over. They didn't take dumb penalties. I think they're going to be as focused. And you know what? I love what Dan Campbell said earlier in the week. He goes, we're going to put a great game plan together, and we're going to go execute it.
Yeah.
Like, you hear him say that, he knows what's on the line. Every player knows what's on the line. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson today on his phone showing when
someone's ass.
He said on Hawkinson, I wanted to go have an opportunity to win. Like I'm not saying this against Hawkinson or anything, because it's not against Hawkinson. He's a good guy. But it just shows what the mentality of people, what they think of us. And I don't think these players know what's on the line. And I think you're going to see their best game is focused.
Someone from PR or something has to be vetting everything CD Deuce is posting, because you got a guy's whole asshole in his locker on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Like that's up there with the Mets picture. You guys remember this from like 10 years ago when they had the big dildo in the guy's locker?
Oh,
yeah. Like that's right up there with that. No, I think this is a business mentality walking into Minnesota. It's a business mentality. It's very straightforward. It's go in there, take care of business. Like, I don't think it's about embarrassing them. I don't think it's about running up the score. Honestly, I don't think he's going to do what he did in the Denver game. I think if they have this game in hand, I think it's going to be coasting. I think You'll see more punting. Like, this is, once again, if we walk into the fourth quarter, if you're up by like 17 points or something crazy like that, which I personally don't think it'll be that close. I think they'll play a little tighter. I think if we break away, it'll be late in the game. I don't think opening in the fourth quarter it'll be, but like in the event that it is, I think you'll see a lot more coasting. And I don't think they're particularly looking for blood. I think they want to get out of this game healthy. I think truly the rest of the rest of the regular season, once you win that division, yes, you want to be the 2 or the 3 seed, but more importantly, like, I think it's more important that we have Frank Ragnow and Taylor Decker and Jonah Jackson than it is to be the 2 or the 3. You know what I mean? Because without one of those 3 guys, I don't like our chances beating anybody. Not saying that we can't win without them, but I don't like our chances.
But I think we become the 2 if we stay healthy. You know?
Yes.
And also, there's only I do feel an offensive lineman, man. There's only a certain amount you can control. Those guys are having big guys following them. Like it's for me, offensive lineman. It's like you got to get lucky to keep your guys together. And what I'm hoping on is that
you got to sub them. Once you're up, you got to sub them. Like Colby's got to play.
I don't think you're only going to sub those guys if you're up by like 4 possessions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Late in the game.
And of course, I would hope they would take someone. I hope they would take someone, but I don't think it's going to get to that point. Gosh, I mean, I just keep going back to this, and I worked all day today, and I just kept thinking in my head, like, what my drive up to Strasburg, PA, is going to be like at 4:30 if we win the division. And I know you guys have Christmas Eve, but you guys better fucking answer your phone.
Oh, I will.
You better answer your fucking phone.
I will absolutely. I'll be sitting there. My son will be sitting next to me. If
you gotta do a 3-way call.
Listen,
you gotta do a 3-way call.
And this is what you can tell your family: like, Christmas happens every year.
I'm going to tell my wife it's a Christmas miracle.
It'll be back next year.
My wife loves Christmas. I'm like, it's a Christmas miracle. I got
to dress up as Santa Claus though for the kids this year.
Beautiful.
Good.
I'll tell you this though. I think this game is much more interesting than people realize. It's like, this isn't a bad. Kirk Cousins get hurt. No one's looking at this as a bad team. They'd be 1 game behind us if Kirk Cousins didn't get hurt. Period.
I don't think this is as interesting for the rest of the country. I think it's more interesting for us.
No, but every game has been a 1-score game with them. They are not getting blown out. They are.
You see the map? Killed. You see the Fox map? It's on the whole entire country.
Really?
It's on the whole entire country. Game. Besides there's like 2 states.
Probably not New York.
Besides like Wisconsin, because Green Bay is playing, and then New York. Both teams don't play on this Fox NFL game. It's red. It's all red. Let me pull this up.
That's the other thing. Like, you got, like, I think people are giving this enough credit because, like, obviously
Jets are on at 1. CBS.
I think we look at it as Kirk Cousins isn't playing, so it's just kind of like how could they possibly beat us with their backup quarterback, which I do agree with, but they do match up. And all of our strengths are their strengths on the other side.
Look, if you guys can see this, the blue is Indianapolis, Atlanta. The green is Green Bay and Carolina. And the red is Detroit, Minnesota for 1 o'clock.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty much everywhere.
It's everyone's watching this game. This game matters to San Fran. This game matters to Dallas. This game matters to Philly. This game matters to us. This game matters to Green Bay. This game matters to Minnesota. Wow. All the other wild card teams that are chasing Minnesota matter. Seattle. I'm willing to bet Tampa.
If we look at the schedule, I'm willing to bet that this is kind of like one of the first games that have these kinds of playoff implications. And then the next game, you're going to see like this might affect the game after it. And then it's going to affect the 8 o'clock game. And then it affects the next day's game. So like,
and the Fox late game is
cool. I love this
time. The whole game is basically Dallas, Miami, the Fox late game.
Every other fucking year for the most part, we are watching from the fucking nosebleeds, watching other teams go through this. So this is fucking awesome. Like, this is great. I'm fucking fired up.
This is good. This is a good nervousness. Like,
it's like but you know what? It's like for me, I think I'll probably get really weird at about like 12 o'clock, 12:30. Like, I can't sit when I watch. I like move around a lot, and then I start complaining about things that don't even like matter about football. Like, I just tell Zoe stuff, but this is to me like right now, probably up until about noon on Sunday. It's like a nervous but exciting feeling. Very, very exciting. More like almost like I can't believe. I guess I would maybe you compare it to like a girl's wedding day. Like I would compare it to like I know he's gonna propose to me today, and like, when is it gonna happen? Like, you know, like
yeah, we still have to win one of the next
and then
three,
you got
it's
like
done.
you got your nails done for your hands look nice, your hair is done,
Got your asshole bleached, yeah, everything, right?
Waxed. Hold on.
Yeah. So this is like how I'm going to that game. Like, it's gonna happen. Just, when is it officially gonna be confirmed? Like, but I'm gonna tell you what, if the Lions are up by 6 or 5 and there's 2 minutes and 14 seconds to go to game and it's 4th and 3 on the 33, Dan ain't kicking no field goal. Does he kick a field goal or does he go for on 4th and 3 and put the ball away? Up 6.
I think this is a game he might kick a field goal. Like,
No,
I
think they put it in Jack Fox's leg and try to just pin him deep.
Oh, wait, you're
that's
talking-
what he says you'll never do.
no.
That's what he did last year in Minnesota. That's why he blew it last year.
They did it against Chicago, I'm pretty sure.
No, that's what the opportunity they had to do against Minnesota last year. He said he regretted first that people.
No,
thought
he regretted going for it in Minnesota. He went for it in Minnesota, and that's
no.
what
He
cost him,
he kicked a field goal that was missed, and he said he regretted not going for it. And people thought he regretted not punting it away. No, he ain't punting the ball away on a 4th and 3.
I think if he's got field goal points this week, he's going to take the field goal points.
But do you take a 50-yarder and a 51-yarder, and you got
Oh, not with Badgley. No. Then you're going for it. No, I'm thinking like a chip shot.
How bad is Patterson? Then you got outkicked in practice by like. So I wasn't there. I heard.
You know who's still drilling fucking field goals? Matt Prater, which is fucking infuriating.
I think that has more to do with him. Listen, I think they're gonna. Like, I don't understand how they did not do their search. There's so many teams right now that have kickers that I've looked up, and there's like first year kicking, didn't even come from like a college, like Dallas kicker.
I forget what his name. Yeah, they let go of all. They got their guys, I think, in the Rams now. And
he was a soccer player, never kicked in college. Went he got drafted in the MLS, failed there, went and kicked in like the XFL, and he was like that and hit like a 60. And now he's like hasn't missed a field goal, and he's the first player to kick 2 60-yard field goals in a game.
You think they could teach Levi Onwuzurike to kick field goals? Maybe.
I bet you.
All right.
Let's talk a little about this game, though. Let's talk about some.
Yeah, let's get more into this game. We're 37 minutes in. We're waxing poetically, but we have not won a division yet, and that's the ultimate goal, right? Yep. So, what do we think we're going to see here from the Lions defense? Are we going to see a continuation of what we saw against Denver? Are we going to see some of these oddball pressures? Are we going to see the safety? Are we going to see the secondary blitz? Are we going to see a little more pressure like we did from the rest of our line outside of, although Hutch did bring a lot of pressure? Are we going to see more of Pascal? Like, what do we think we're going to see from this defense?
I mean,
I
think they'll test him early. I think that's kind of the game. Again, Patrick Monley speaking here with no coaching experience. What I would do is test them early because Nick Mullins is back there. Get him a little rattled a little early. See how much success you have with some blitzing, dialing up some pressure, getting really after it early. If they're because the dangerous part is you have Addison, Hawkinson, and Justin Jefferson out there. So if you're not getting there, sending 4, sending 5, 7, 6, and they're completing passes, they're probably gonna have a lot of room to run. So if you have success early, continue with it. Dial it up on random plays. Otherwise, I think you might see them get a little conservative if they're trying to get pressure, not getting what they want, and then they're completing passes on the other side. You might see them scale it back as the game goes on. So it's like, I think that first quarter and a half is going to be telling of what happens the rest of the game as far as like the pressure side. Because we've seen it with Glenn. Sometimes he's so aggressive, and then other games he just completely takes the foot off the gas. And you never know which one you're going to get, and I do think he kind of does it based off what he sees out there. So I can't completely fault him for it, but that's just with the receiving core and what they can do because they are good. Like it or not, that trio is very good. A great rookie, probably the best receiver in the NFL, and one of the top 5 tight ends in the league. So they can make you pay for it if you're blitzing and they dial up the right plays. But they got to get the blocking, in which case I think their offensive right tackle looks like he's really on the fence of playing. Or not. So that could be a huge piece of this too.
They got a few guys that could be out. Murphy might be out, the cornerback.
Mullins moved around very well Saturday against the Bengals. I was watching all that game. he
I
didn't.
haven't watched much of it.
His mobility was pretty good. He was moving around really well.
Yeah. Okay.
He had a nice throw in the end zone when he ran like all the way to the right when they were on like the 20 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a lucky throw. That one, the one where his wife went all crazy. He made it. Like, yeah. Bill's
He made it.
was a lucky, yeah.
We gotta be able to contain him. If you're gonna let Mullins beat you, let him. Don't let him beat you outside the pocket. You got to keep him in the pocket, and you got to corral him.
Listen, if they let Mullins beat them 2 out of the next 3 games, they lose the division. Like,
yeah, no, but I'm just
that's like an engagement that just completely fell apart. Like,
yeah, but I think people are underestimating McConnell as a coach in general, and the fact that they have Flores, who is a great defensive coordinator.
Mind, yeah.
So like they got the right coaching, and again, like I said, if fuck, his name escaping me, the quarterback that got hurt,
Kirk Cousins,
he's playing. This is a true fucking pick 'em. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're playing well enough where that's a quarterback where I could say this could be anybody's game. So like they're not like deficient as a team. But they do have some. And I was looking at their injury report. They are the whole middle. Both are starting and backup defensive tackles. Their backup defensive end, Daniel Hunter's coming back from a sickness.
They're starting
Jordan
corner.
Hicks back though. They're getting Jordan Hicks back though. Byron Murphy sucks anyway. He's trash this year.
He's still their starting corner.
But they do have good pieces. All I'm saying, and
they're not a great pass defense. They're a really good run stopping defense. They're actually very similar to us in both statistics, where we fall in run and pass, and in total yards on defense. So I think defensively, it's a pretty even matchup for me. The way I look at it, I think they're like 8th best run defense. They're like 7th best run defense. We're like 8th best
I'd give
defense.
them the edge because you got a guy doing this in year 1 versus our guy in year 3, still figured it out. So I'm giving the edge to them based off just quality of D coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you could probably argue that in the NFL. A lot of people think highly of Aaron Glenn. I mean, we know I get frustrated with him.
I'm not saying I don't. I'm not saying he's bad, but I think Flores has proven has a better track record of proven quality defenses.
Listen, I still believe that the way watching Dorsey and Vilver play compared to Jerry Jacobs in last game, and I think that gives a lot of like security to Aaron Glenn to be able to call certain blitzes and package and knowing this guy's gonna be marked up.
Shout out to Sunny Days of the Racetrack tuning in. Sorry to cut you off, Pavo. They're tuning in with a little One Pride. So thank you, boys.
Thank you.
That's
Go
our
Islanders.
other channel. That's the Islanders.
Yeah,
that's the Islanders pod.
So Islanders are playing good. They're winning some games right now, aren't they?
I have not followed hockey. As long as football's on, hockey doesn't exist to me.
Yeah. So I think I think you're going to see a different D. And I'm not sure. Is CJ Gardner playing this week? Do you think he plays? Because if he plays,
based off precedent, absolutely not. If you look at every guy's come back from IR, not one I think played in the same week, technically speaking.
I mean, how many? Well, some guys have. I was about to say how many guys came back from a torn pec in the same season, but some guys have.
I just mean I think it's the way they handle IR. It's like we want a full week of practice out of you, and if we feel good about it, you'll play the following week. And if we don't feel good about it, we'll let you see.
Here's a question, and anybody in the audience that hopefully is a Lions fan can chime in. Please do. Jump in the comments. In the event that they get off to a big lead, let's just say, right? Let's say it looks at halftime like it's over. Third quarter, they come out scoring. Like, let's say you're looking at a 35-3 ball game.
Are you asking if Hendon Hooker gets in?
Yeah, are you going to roll out Hendon Hooker? Or are you going to roll out
no? He won't be
at that point. You're not going to keep Jared out there, right?
He won't be active though. It'll be they're going to.
You don't think they're going to activate him?
No, he'll be inactive.
He'll dress. No, he'll dress.
I think it'll be game day in that.
He doesn't take a roster spot. He's already on the roster. You could dress a third quarterback if 2 get injured. So he doesn't go against the 49.
So
but you can't play him until
he can't play unless 2 people are injured.
So that's my question. If you list him as the third string,
I don't think he'd be the backup in this game.
No.
Unless there's something going on in practice that we don't see, and he's just lighting it up.
They're letting Teddy go out with class. They're going to let him play against his old team if they.
They're going to play. They're going to play whoever's the better quarterback.
Well, did you see? I actually said I said this. You were at the game.
I don't think
you were at the game. I said this to Matt. This was actually interesting. So there's an article.
They didn't dress Brockers for like a whole season, and they don't dress Charles. They don't care about that. If you don't perform and you're being outperformed, Hendon Hooker. If Hendon Hooker is outperforming Teddy Bridgewater right now, which he's probably not because he's a rookie.
That's what I was going to say. He's probably not.
He's probably not. But if he is, Hendon Hooker's going to be the backup quarterback.
Well, here's an interesting thing, and I sent it to Matt. So there's the huge story I sent you guys of the Teddy Bridgewater like story about he's retiring and all this stuff. And like the only reason he came here, he said it. He's like, Dan's great. He's like, I came here to be
learn how to coach.
Be a mentor to Hendon Hooker and Jameson Williams. He came here to take them under his wing and help like guide them and like kind of get them ready for the pros. Like, hey, I got injured too. I want to help you out. You're kind of going through a rough patch. I'm going to help you get your head right. That's like they pretty much brought him here as like an internal coach.
But imagine
guys.
Imagine like the experience he's getting to see guys like Dan Campbell coach, how he deals with players, how he talks to players.
He already said in that article he's going to go coach his old high school back in Florida.
Yeah, well, no, I know. No,
I
I know he is. But the way he communicates and has a good relationship with players, from everyone from bottom, the way Dan Campbell treats people, it's a great experience for him.
Oh yeah.
Now, that's furthermore that I think, and this is just my opinion, is that I don't think it would matter to Teddy Bridgewater if like they came to him and said, you're the third string quarterback. You're going to dress. You're going to be here. Your job is here to mentor. I think he'd be like, yeah, I got no problem with that. Hendon Hooker's doing better.
Yeah, I don't think he'd care either, honestly. Like,
I don't think he cares.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's but to your point, like if their lines are up and Hendon Hooker's healthy like he is, I would love to see him get action this year. I would love it. If say we know we're the 2 seed or the 3 seed and that last game doesn't matter, honestly, don't even dress golf. Give Teddy a half a game and give Hendon Hooker the second half.
You're doing your team a disservice if you don't, because like you just don't like to not know at all.
Let's start seeing something. See what he has. I don't even care if he hands the ball off 10 times.
I was gonna say expectations shouldn't be big. He's been practicing for like four or 5
throw
weeks.
Throw a couple screen balls, maybe throw a deep one at JMO.
Just get him some in-game experience.
Yeah, get your feet. That's it.
Oh my God! Imagine the vibes
if he completes a long pass to Jamal.
He completes a pass to anybody on the roster,
or escapes the pocket and like picks up 25.
Just like whatever, just drops back in the pocket.
And that's almost why I don't want like as much as I love Hooker like from college. I almost don't want it because like I don't want that looming going to the playoffs and people fucking talking about it.
No, I don't. But I don't think that'd be a real because like
dude, this is the media and this is the media age of NFL. It would be.
But now hear me out, Pat. Hear me out. Like cooler heads prevail. And it's like, so if you've watched this show, you could tell pretty easily who's the biggest Jared Goff guy, who's not so much, right? And that's fine. That's fine, right? But like, no matter how upset I've ever been at Goff this year, and I believe the same with you, Pat. Like, at no point did I ever think, Just you got to put in Teddy or man, I hope Hendon's ready because he's got to play because like just from even if the talent's there, just from a playing with the starters standpoint, like the backups don't get to play with the starters unless the starters hurt.
Yeah,
the backups don't play with them. So. Like it's not even a rational thought. Even if Hendon comes in and he looks like the second coming of Christ, it doesn't matter because he hasn't played with these guys. You're not going to put a playoff game in that guy's hands, and not because he's not capable, but because Jared's been playing all year with these guys. Like you've won with Jared, you're going to continue to try to do that.
And I also didn't mean it in that way. I meant like more like the media running away with it, people running away with it, and making it a story that doesn't need to be.
I'll tell you what's going to be a bigger story. What's going to be a bigger story is when the Rams win tonight and they win one of their next 2 games.
If Rams lose, we clinch tonight.
Okay, well, I don't think they're going to, but I hope so, Pavo. I want to play the Saints. What's going to be a nauseating story is if we have to play the fucking Rams in our first playoff game and we have to hear all about the trade and all about Stafford Goff and everything that we've gotten over. We're gonna hear it all over again.
I think there's a bit of like just like
I kind of want that storyline. I kind of want it though. I want it.
It's a formation of both sides winning. Stafford got a Super Bowl, Rams got what they wanted. Lions beat the guy they traded at home with their first playoff game. That's just a story that writes itself because like that everyone wins in that scenario. Of course, Stafford wants to come here and win, but
fuck that. I want to play the Seahawks. I want to see Pete Carroll cry on the sideline.
The amount of pressure that Aiden Hutchinson gets on every pass but doesn't sack the guy, it's a perfect scenario for Matt Stafford to break his thumb on on Aiden Hutchinson's helmet, right? He's always right there. The follow through.
Oh my God.
Whoever the Lions play, Rams, Seattle, Minnesota, Green Bay, like, I'm sorry, like that crowd's gonna be jacked up.
Yeah.
You can't,
and it's going to be a heavy
Lions
Lions crowd.
It's going to be a
heavy Lions crowd.
Heavy Lions. There's going to be no Rams fans. They don't have fans.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, they do. They're all in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they should have never moved.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I have no problem with the Rams coming into town, and play in Detroit. I'm not afraid of them. If we lose, we lost because we would have probably lost to anyone else that we played that day.
I wouldn't minimize it that badly because they are playing they're a team that pretty
they
much
are good. No, they are a good football team. They are, but you know what? You're coming to Detroit. You're traveling across the country. It's the first home playoff game. The crowd's gonna be jacked up. You as a team needs to be jacked up.
Yeah,
but I look at it as like there's gonna be a tiny bit of a quarter in that scenario. There's a tiny bit of Stafford that probably won't get rattled because he'll appreciate it.
I got to use the boys' room.
Versus other quarterbacks would get a little more rattled with the noise and all this. I think Stafford would kind of enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah, he would. I mean,
because I think he'd be excited. Like, man, these guys deserve. Like, he knows it. He's a good guy through all this. They all have been.
If I had my preference, especially in the first round, I don't want to play one of our divisional teams. I don't want to play Minnesota. I think those they're always dangerous.
They know you
can be dangerous. Yeah, exactly.
We lost to the Bears. Like we lost to Green Bay. We're better teams than both of them. So like it can happen a lot easier to a divisional opponent than Seattle Rams is my pick. New Orleans, any of those teams, Tampa Bay, any of those, bring them in. I'm with you on that. I'd rather face any of them. Hands down.
A West Coast team traveling out to the East Coast. Both of them are probably playing to get in week 17. Like exactly, that's who I want. Fuck Seattle. Like they took the game from us this year. They fucked us last year, and then they also beat St. Louis in the playoffs. So, and St. Louis couldn't get the job done last year to get us into the playoffs. So screw them.
It's not St. Louis. It's L.A.
Well, now you said St. Louis. Yes, L.A. So I'm not. I just told Pat, listen, I really don't want to play one of our divisional opponents in the first round. It's always dangerous.
I'm a little opposite. I think I want Green Bay.
Listen, if you tell me we smoked Minnesota twice,
no, I don't want to see.
Sure.
No, I don't want to see Minnesota again.
I don't want to see the same team 3 times before we.
But this is my point: is if we beat them twice, they're not making the playoffs.
No.
In an ideal world, I don't know. You know what? Fuck that.
They're not going to make it at 8 and 9.
I don't care. I really don't care who comes in. I don't care who comes into Ford Field the first week of playoffs. Obviously I want to beat them, and I think we'll beat them, but. It's just gonna upset me with the whole storyline of like the Rams because I have a lot of love for Stafford. He's the reason I became a fan back when I was a young kid, and I know what it's gonna bring out, and it's gonna bring out the worst in Lions fans because it's gonna be the bickering. It's gonna be fighting amongst each other over nothing.
No one cares. It will if it gets ugly and they were to win. They're gonna be like but if they win, people gotta want to see him cry. No. People are over it. People don't care for him anymore. They like it.
He's not crying either.
No,
he's had plenty of chances of his career.
Everyone's happy for him. You won your Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Go. You're fine. Leave it as is. No one's rooting for Stafford anymore. Nobody.
No
one.
If we're in the event that we're out and they're in, I'm absolutely rooting for him 100%.
Sure, but I'm not saying that no one's rooting for Stafford. This whole whole Detroit Rams. That thing is over.
No, that's dead.
It's
yeah.
done.
That was the Lions paying homage to a guy that they knew had it in him, but just got dealt a shit.
I'm not going to lie to you. I couldn't bring myself to buy one of those shirts.
No,
and I don't look down at anyone that did. I just couldn't do it. No. And the same thing, like when he got traded to the Rams, I literally had his jersey in my cart. On NFL Shop.
The Instagram company, I believe, those Detroit Lions who made those, they just rip on the Lions all day long, and they're the biggest haters. Like the company that who made them. But what was it? I lost my thought process. What I was
end of the day, I don't think it matters who's coming to Ford Field. I think the fans are going to have it rocking. I think it's going to be a loud atmosphere. I think it's going to be a good time, and I'm not particularly worried. It's a playoff game. Like anything can happen. Anybody could walk in and beat us. But
a playoff team's a playoff team, man. Like, nothing to shake your fist at. Like it happens all the time.
I am confident.
That Lions game is going to be Saturday at 8:00.
I
You know, you have
fucking
that
hope
place
not.
rocking.
I really hope not.
Because I
Just
remember
I'll be in
Giant.
DR.
I remember what was the Giants Vikings game last year?
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, things fucking happen, dude. Like all you gotta do is catch a
But I
team.
think all year people knew the Vikings were frauds and that the Giants were frisky
Yeah, it's
enough that
both.
they could win that game. So
2 weeks before that, Minnesota was losing 35-0 to Indianapolis at halftime.
right, and then they came
Like
back
they were
and
just like such a team of just
right.
I don't know. Now I saw like a story about them today, and this is like I don't pay attention. Like they have not lost to a team by more than 5 since like week 3, so they keep every game close. So I'll give the Lions a lot of credit. They go in here, and this is with a backup quarterbacks, you know, and put a little beating on them. But I don't know why I think that's what's going to happen. I think the Lions.
You think they're going to come in and mollywop the Vikings?
Yeah, listen. I pulled up some fun things here really quickly. Since 1993, some fun facts.
Rip it.
These are,
Fun facts with Paul.
so,
That's gonna be our weekly segment.
so things that happened in 1993. The record for most passengers on an airplane was set. It was 1,086 Ethiopian Jews. That's what the article says. Were evacuated on a Boeing 747 to Jerusalem. Now here are the things. The plane landed with 1,088, 2 more passengers. 2 babies were born on that plane. Kentucky Fried Chicken officially changed its name to KFC. It turns out that the team behind the brand just wanted to shorten their name to something that's catchy and easy to say. They are still selling actual chicken.
I thought these would be football facts.
Yeah, are these all
No.
things that happened in 1993?
Yeah. HP introduced its first color scanner. Gas was 77 cents.
I thought this was gonna be like Lions facts.
What do you want to talk? What has happened in the 99? We lost another game.
Actually,
92?
You want to talk fun facts? I was watching what's it called, Die Hard last night for the first time.
Christmas
sick.
movie or no Christmas
It's
movie?
It's a fucking Christmas movie. It all happens on Christmas.
Absolutely.
It is a Christmas movie. It is Christmas carols, the whole movie.
Yep.
Yes, it's a Christmas movie. And I'm watching Die Hard, and I found out it was made in 1988. And there's a scene where Officer Powell is at a gas station getting like, I don't know, Twinkies and shit for his wife. And they pan from like his car up to the building that all this is going on at. And gas was at 74 cents a gallon in LA. Yeah. So you can only imagine what it was in Detroit or anywhere else.
77 cents. I looked it up.
I remember as a kid, like going to the beach, like when I was young, and like they got to speak $1, $1.20, stuff like that. And like it's just like I never really thought about it. Then you get older, I'm like $5. That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
So hold on.
You saw more fun facts, Paul?
Well, I have since you want Lions ones.
I have a fun fact, but I'm gonna.
The league was smaller. There's 4 less teams in 1993. There was no Carolina Panthers, no Ravens, no Houston Texans, no Jaguars, no Carolina, no Jacksonville, no Baltimore, no Houston. Head coach Wayne Fontes. Barry Sanders rushing yards. He had 1,111 that year. He only had 3 touchdowns, but he missed 5 games after a concussion. The Super Bowl ad, the cost for a Super Bowl ad in 1993 was $850,000. That's it. Can't imagine what it's now. But George Washington was president. The governor of Michigan was Engler.
George Washington?
Senior.
Nope. No.
George, no, you want to George.
I like Washington. He's like, yeah, senior. I'm like, even wronger. More wrong, whatever.
All right, wait a minute now.
I'm getting way off.
We're at 58 minutes here. Are we a little off the rails? Do we have anything else for Sunday? Do we have some closing thoughts to leave the viewers?
I do.
Let's give them.
Yes. I think you got to look at the injury report tomorrow. Is going to be very telling of what this Sunday could look like. They got 2 D tackles, Hunter's on the illness. They're getting Jordan Hicks back, which is huge for them to get him back on the linebacking core. But
who was the #1 movie in 1993?
Oh God, comedy or is it regular?
I can tell you what it was in '94, but not '93.
It was like kind of like in
'94. There was a bunch
scary.
of big movies.
Maybe it was scary back then, but I don't know. It was not like scary, like horror scary, but like.
Oh, It?
No.
Oh.
93. Because I know that I think 93 was when didn't like Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, and one other, and Ace Ventura all come out in the same calendar year.
I think you're
Dumb
thinking
and
of
Dumber is right around that. Right around
94 was like Forrest
94.
Gump and something else. A bunch of
that.
big
Top
movies.
actor was Tom Hanks in 1993.
Yeah.
But either way,
But
this
the
game
movie,
comes-
the movie,
This game.
the movie. Hold on, the movie. People still wear T-shirts of this movie.
Top Gun?
No, Jurassic Park.
Oh,
That's a good one.
fuck. Okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do closing thoughts here, boys. Pat, we interrupted you.
All right. No worries. So I just think this is gonna be. I look at this game as a very good matchup for both teams. I think like each strength on each side of the ball is the other team's strength on the other side. So I think it's gonna be pretty much even keeled what they've been doing all year. 1-score games. Again, it can look more lopsided than 1-score games. You never know. Maybe they're up by 2 scores all game. Minnesota gets one late. You don't know what it's going to look like from that perspective, but I do think that McConnell's been keeping this defense agile, fresh, with really bad quarterbacks and still staying in games. Like not just like keeping the score low, but actually scoring points. And then obviously on the defensive side, you look at his numbers, man. Like he's like the top. It's crazy. He's like the top in sending 6 players, and he's also the top in only sending 4. So it's his scheming is so drastic that you don't know what he's going to throw at you in each game. So it's going to be really interesting. I think how each team handles that first quarter and a half, who adjusts better. We saw it last week. First quarter looked like it was going to be a fucking barn burner. And then they opened up the floodgates, and the Lions just could not miss a goddamn pass. They couldn't call a bad play. They couldn't miss a block on a run. Everything just clicked, and they just ran away with the game. You hope that happens. I think Flores is a little bit more of a trustworthy adversary on the defensive side, and I do think they have more talent on the Vikings than the Broncos do. So we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, too, contain Justin Jefferson. Last year, I think we had 2 games. One, he went for 250 yards. I think the other, we held him pretty much in check. This has to be a check game. If he has a big day, probably not good for the Lions. Can't have a big day with Nick Mullins at quarterback. If that happens, the defense is falling apart, in my opinion. So we'll see how that works out. But my confidence, pretty high. I'll go with 23-17. That's kind of how I'm feeling about it.
Yeah. 28-17.
23.
23, yeah.
6, yeah, so it's like 6 point game. Maybe they get a field goal late, make it a 1-score game. I don't know. Maybe Lions score late to make it a 6-point game. I don't know.
So I'll give listen, I'm going to keep mine pretty simple of what I think needs to happen in this game and what I think is going to happen in this game. One, before I do, I want to give a shout out because I didn't know these numbers. And honestly, I think these numbers are ridiculous. So I don't know if you guys saw Frank Ragnow, according to PFF, since 2020, he's only allowed 1 sack in 1,735 pass blocking snaps. That's incredible. We talked about I don't know if I was talking with you today in the morning or I was talking with my buddy George in the morning, but we are talking about who's the cornerstone of this defense. And I know Sue was the monster, the big guy out there. He's more vocal. He gets the team hyped up, man. But Ragnow is like this. He's the foundation. Everyone builds off of him outside.
Foundation of the entire organization.
Yeah, and he sets it. And the more you heard about the injuries and playing through things and keeping the bar high and everyone next to him. So that's where I'm going to start this offensive line. We saw the stats. Someone posted it. We talked about it last game. This offensive line is 5-0, and I don't care who they played in those games. They score 38 points again. They in those games they average 421 yards through the air, total yards. They average 185 yards on the run game. If this offensive line starts a game and finishes the game, I think the Lions win. If they start and no one gets hurt and they play it, I think we're going to be able to run the ball. I think we're going to be able to protect Jared Goff, and I think the Lions win. And I think the defense is going to continue to get creative. I think they will. You can't get away from that. You saw the success that you had last game. You sent blitzes from different angles. You just can't go away from that. So I think they'll continue to do that. And I'm gonna go like what I've been. I don't know. This number has been to me. I'm 27-17.
I think what you just said. I agree with what both of you just said. Not so much on the score. I'm going to go in a different direction on the score. I think if this line's healthy, I don't think they lose a game until they see the San Francisco 49. Like firmly believe that much in this line. If all 5 of those guys are healthy and playing, I don't see them losing a game until they line up against the Niners, and that's only because I believe the Niners are as good an offense as us, probably a little better, and they have a much better defense than us. So I believe that is the buzzsaw I believe we'll run into. But until that day comes, I don't think there is another team that can truly stop us with this front 5. The keys to winning, I'm right there with you. Don't turn the ball over. Keep playing the way you just played against the Broncos. Play sound football. You don't. I'll be honest with you. Take a little less home run shots. Go for the first down. I mean, if there's anything I can criticize Ben Johnson on in his tenure at Detroit, it's not going for first downs enough. It's these moon shots, and I get it. I mean, I get it. When you're down points, especially later in games, I get it. But when a game is at hand, or you're up 10 points and it's the second quarter, it ain't about moonshots, man. It's about keeping their offense off the field. It's about moving the sticks. And once you get into the red zone, we're a potent enough offense that we could find a million different ways to score. We'll figure that out. Like, just get us to the red zone and we'll figure it out. So if we're going to win this game, which I believe we will, not play conservatively, but go for first downs. Stop. I mean, 2nd and 2, you want to chuck it into the seats? Go ahead. Give that a try.
Okay, yes.
No problem. 2nd and 2, go right ahead. No problem. 1st and 5, you get them to jump off sides. No problem. Take your shot. I agree. 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5, that's not the time. That's the time to dump it off to St. Brown or Laporta and get your first down, move the sticks, live to fight another play, live to fight another down.
And that's one thing I want to fucking co-sign that, because I think that's been his one thing I hate about
that's
his
the
play
bugaboo.
calling. He always does it on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. It's like, dude, we just need to get a first down. And I get it. You got to keep the defense honest, but take that. We're not a team that's built around those big deep balls. So you don't want to ruin a 3rd down opportunity by doing something your team's not exactly been successful at.
Well, we can be.
I think you're taking away Ben Johnson. Like, what he does is his play calling is unpredictable on no matter what whatever down and whatever yards you got to go. I mean, who runs it on 3rd and 10? He does to get a first down. Yeah. Who runs it on 3rd and 9 and hands off? And it's like they're not running it just to get an field range.
But they're running
it to get a first
down. Time out. What did you just talk about? What's the key to winning the rest of the season? The offensive line.
Yeah.
Because you trust the offensive line. So if you put a gun to my head, just hear me out. If you put a gun to my head and you said 3rd and 10, you need to convert. You could either run to Jahmyr Gibbs, or you could chuck it 50 yards downfield to Jameson Williams. I'm probably going to choose to run to Jahmyr Gibbs, and not because I just saw that Saturday night.
But how many
I'm
times
choosing
did they
that
chuck
because
it down the field last week? Twice?
No, he didn't. They chucked it down a few times. But the point is I trust that more because I trust those front 5 guys. I have more control with those front, and 3rd and 10, they're expecting a pass. Sure. But my point is we should be focused on getting first downs. And I get what you're saying with the unpredictability. 100%. And that's fun when you're up by 10 points or when you're up by 20 points or whatever. But in a tightly contested matchup, just keep getting your first downs. Keep getting your first downs. If you have to kick your field goals, kick your field goals. I can assure you, Ben Johnson, you'll be right back in the red zone the next drive. Kick your fucking field goals. Yeah. As for a score prediction, I'm different from you guys. I think we throw up 38 points in this game. I don't know how much they'll score. I'll say 38-20.
I mean, listen, you're right on. When we played our starting 5, we averaged 38 points a game. So that's and then one thing that I know we need to end this, but I think, and I agreed with this. I saw this another guy talking about it. I think the big X factor for this team that we know play better defense, offense line staying healthy. You want to make a Super Bowl run? If you can just continue unleashing Jameson Williams a little bit, you're just seeing his potential, what he could do. Just how he picked up that first down with the juke move, making tough catches now. And if you get this guy going more and more, I think this offense will be completely
Now that's a new level.
unstoppable.
Yeah.
It's a whole new level.
He's starting to feel himself for sure. Like
Oh.
you can see it. You can see the confidence when you have that juke.
But they've got to continue this. It can't just be a 1 week
He
thing.
had this much room on the sideline.
Yeah.
Like there was no room. I watched it 3 times today. Just move, and then like you see Sam Laporta do the same move like later on. Like it's
Listen, we had a big game last week that put us on the trajectory that we needed, kind of a get right game, so to speak, as you know, the term always goes. I hate that term, but it is a get right game, I guess. But like it's the momentum shift, right? And like the momentum is what's needed for the playoffs. And even if you win 2 the next year, you win this one, lose Dallas, win Minnesota, maybe lose this week, win next, whatever it is, you need a momentum push moving into the playoffs regardless. And I'm a huge believer in that. At least, like there is I think correlation of teams having momentum moving in the playoffs.
All right, boys, we good to wrap it up?
Yeah. So we have 38.
I got 38-20.
23-17.
Pavo, you had what? 28.
27-17. You had 28 to what?
I had 38.
38-20. I had 23-17. And then you had 27.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, hopefully when we're doing our next show, we are NFC North champions.
I hope
we
got
hope T-shirts.
Right, I hope it's 38-20. But
And just all the viewers, the audience out there, keep following the socials. It's at Sunny Days in DET 313 on Twitter. Pavo, what's our Instagram handle?
Sunny Days _Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah, we can throw
us.
it on. We'll throw it on the bottom here next time. We'll have it on here.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to follow us,
Yes.
we'll add it on to the
throw us a
the ticker.
follow on social media. I don't know what we're gonna do if they win the division Sunday. We'll figure something out. If we don't do something, it's gonna be tough Sunday. It's gonna be very tough. I don't think we can, but like we might just decide something last month. We probably won't.
Yeah.
But
I'd say
I don't know.
Probably end up being Tuesday. If I had to guess.
Honestly, if you're gonna see anything on the socials, it'll be me and Pavo, maybe Pat, posting videos of ourselves giving our
opinion. I will give my my thought on the game right after. It might be a rant. If this is if I win, if it is, I don't want to talk to nobody. Yeah, fuck Christmas. So no,
I got a 2-month-old experience at first Christmas. No chance.
Yeah, get him that NFC North Division champion T-shirt.
Everybody follow the socials.
Like that.
You'll see some updates in the next couple of days. Thank you for tuning in. One Pride. Let's go Lions. Let's
Take
go
care
win.
of business.
Let's go win this